Happy Monday and thank you for joining us on NMH at 1. I am Glenn Rashipura and I'll be your host for today's show. Now I will share with you the latest news and current affairs in Namibia and beyond. In today's news, fuel prices continue to shoot up. Kavango regions reject raccoons, Africa's exploration activities. We also catch up on weekend sports right here on NMH at 1. Do stay with us. In our latest news, Ms. Akuna Cook, U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, paid a courtesy call to Namibia's Vice President, Nangolo Mbumba, today. We take a trip around the country when we come back with visual news from across Namibia. Stay with us. Welcome back to NMH at 1. We now dive right into our visual news. Now, the Minister of Mines earlier today announced the increase of petrol prices, $1 Namibian and 20 cents per litre, and diesel prices by $1 Namibian and 30 cents on Wednesday. Now, the ministry cautioned Namibians to hold tight as volatile economic situations is expected to result in further fuel price increases. Now, this clip was contributed by Irene Marie van der Walt.
Appreciation of the Namibian dollar was not significant enough to offset the sharp increase in fuel products during the period under review. Our recent review therefore shows huge under-recoveries recorded during the trading cycle under review. That is a $1.40 per litre on petrol and $1.60 per litre on diesel. Based on the market indicators outlined above and the huge under-recoveries recorded, the fuel prices for March will be adjusted as follows. Increase in petrol price by $1.20 per litre, an increase in the diesel price by $1.30 per litre. These adjustments will become effective on the 2nd of March 2022. It therefore means that the new fuel pump price in Walvis Bay will become $17.15 per litre for unleaded petrol and $17.28 per litre for diesel 50 ppm.
Now, in our next video, residents of Kuwas recently held a peaceful demonstration against police at the settlement for not executing their duties and using state resources for their personal agendas. Monique Adams was there.
So I'll start straight away with the peaceful public demonstration against Khoi's police, the petition. The first point we have is, I'll say it in English and then I'll repeat it in Afrikaans just for my people's sake also. The first point is, the way local police investigate cases remain a major concern, because sometimes you report a case, then they say there is no vehicle, and afterwards they just let it slide and never follow up that case. I have 3 examples of such cases from different community members. Also, they want evidence from you instead of investigating. Also, police relations with minors continue, and there was a case of rape reported against an officer. But up to now, it seems the case just freezed, as there is no indication of further developments. Number 3, community members claim the police vehicle is a taxi for the officers' relatives, as they refuse to load community members and yet load their families with luggage. So what is the policy regarding police transport? Either load everyone or just load prisoners. Last year, a youth against crime group was lodged to help combat after hours crime, but that initiative went cold. So what happened? Number 5, and this one is a very important point: favoritism. A police officer should remain neutral regardless. But here, when you come to the office with cases, they choose sides because they don't like you. They have personal other vendettas against you, and they victimize because you stand up for the truth. Number 6, apartheid is long gone. But here, if a Boer or white report a case against you, the police always side with them. And I'm especially referring to the accident 2 weeks ago, when a Boer Polstein called people drunk hotnose in front of the police. Number 7, the police have roadblocks and give tickets to the community, yet most of the officers in their ranks don't have licenses, but drive around and even drunk, and nothing happens to them. Number 8, growing concerns among this community as police officers continue to be linked in stock theft. And we urge the police from Keetmans to investigate these allegations very seriously. The Lieutenant General Commander Sebastian Undatungo once said, no police officer is above the law. And yet some officers here feel they are untouchable. One police officer that's standing here today said, we can demonstrate all we want, nothing will happen. And that's utterly disrespectful and in bad taste. And we have his name. The community requests that police officers who are here for years be moved to other towns, as they have become negligent, lazy, and investigate in cruise control. Yet it has to be said, not all of them. Police, please, fair treatment, respond on time, stop indulging in illegal activities, stop favoritism, and wear your badge with honor, and you will see how people will respect you.
Now, in our next video, we're in the northeast parts of Namibia. Now, Kavango Region's chairperson of the Shambu Traditional Authority Chiefs Council, Sebastian Kantema, says Recon Africa should be allowed to conduct oil exploration operations in the Kavango regions without hindrance, having received office equipment worth over 50,000 Namibian dollars from the Canadian-based company. He also questioned why environmentalists are more concerned about Recon Africa's operations in the Kavango regions, while they are silent on the explorations taking place in other parts of the country.
Through the entire Recon Africa, we appreciate what we see. We have been saying that Recon Africa is not going to assist the community. Witness this. Witness this. This is just the beginning for many to come. If God help us, and the oil is discovered, many will come. Many assistance. The community will be different. That's why those of us who are being misled or used just false gospel that Recon Africa is here to destroy the ecosystem of this country. I think all exploration is not only done in Kavango, it's done all over in Namibia.
And that concludes our visual news from across the regions. When we return, we'll be taking a sneak peek inside today's daily print publications. But first, a quick ad break. Welcome back to NMH at 1. Now let's take a look at our local newspapers. Now the Namibian Sun on its page 1 leads with the war situation in Ukraine, which finds 92 Namibian students seemingly caught up in the refugee situation, with all types of people now fleeing the Ukraine as a result of the Russian aggression against that country. Now, the Namibian Sun on its page 3 focuses on CITES, which finds itself under pressure by international animal rights group as a result of Namibia's intent to in part export some of the 170 elephants marked for catching and sale to countries where the animals would end up in zoos. Now, the Republican leads with an announcement made by James Munyupe, the Commissioner for Green Energy. Thus, Namibia is focusing on lending their major projects for the purpose of developing hydrogen plants in Namibia. Namibia is thus bent on successfully becoming one of the key producers of green energy, not only in the region, but in the world. Now, the Republican brings in an interesting article on page 2 explaining that Nampower is on the verge of acquiring 2 mobile substations at a value of $52 million Namibian dollars. Now, these are mobile substations mounted on truck trailers, and they can thus be used as backup when a sudden need arises. Now, the Allgemeine Zeitung focuses on the report of the Hospitality Association of Namibia, HAN, which has said news in that the average bed occupation in the hospitality industry amounted to 18.5% in January 2022, which is 2% down from January 2021. So Namibia is still subjected to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Han is in the meantime appealing to the Namibian government to follow suit in what many other countries are doing already, and that is to exempt tourists from PCR tests if they can present proof that they have been fully vaccinated. Now, on its page 3, the Allgemeine Zeitung focuses on the fact that the Minister of Mines and Energy, Tom Alwindo, expresses his satisfaction about Namibia finding itself on the path where the Namibian economy can be regarded as a dynamic and diversified. Now, this follows the second petroleum find, this time announced by Total Energies, following a previous announcement by Shell. Now, the Namibian is quoting Statistician General Alex Shimuhafeni, who currently seems unaware whether the census plan for 2022 will still move along. This is a first reaction to the budget, which does not seem to allow for that type of expense. Shimuhafeni now feels that he was misunderstood. The exercise of $1 billion Namibian dollars can in fact be conducted more cheaply. The Namibian on its page 3 focuses on the opposition party SWANU, whose political bureau director, Isaskar Hyakere, has announced that the Pure Party currently intends to invade land that was supposedly lost during the 1904 genocide without compensation. He insists that the German government needs to open up and address this issue. Similar to the Namibian Sun, the New Era also leads on its front page with the fact that the Minister for International Relations and Corporations and also Deputy Prime Minister Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah has urged Ukrainian Namibians to get out of Ukraine. Now, on page 3, the New Era brings an article about the SADC Regional Energy Regulators Association of Southern Africa's meeting in Swakopmund. Now, the Deputy Minister of Mines and Energy, Cornelius Shilunga, is quoted to have said that SADC has apparently failed to meet its targets in terms of establishing new power generation plants and transmission capabilities. Now, the Market Watch tells on its front page that the International Energy Agency, IEA, has assured the international community that it will assure global energy security amidst Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. Now, Sports Reps on page 1 leads with an article about the riding community that can look forward to another 7 races after the first Holland gravel and dirt race was completed this past weekend. Now, the winners of these weekends were Gerard Mans and Genevieve Weber. Stay with us for economic news when we return. Welcome back to NMH at 1. Now let's take a look at our economic news stories. Now, IEA vows to ensure global energy security. Now, the International Energy Agency has pledged to protect global energy security. IEA Executive Director Faith Birol said IEA member countries agreed to continue to act in solidarity to ensure global energy security. Now, U.S. President Joe Biden said on Thursday the United States is working with other countries on a combined release of additional oil from global strategic crude reserves after international oil prices topped $105. Such a plan would be in addition to a coordinated release of oil stockpiles organized by Washington last November, under which the United States released about 50 million barrels of oil from its strategic petroleum reserve through sales and exchanges. Now, European energy ministers will hold an emergency meeting today after a surge in prices for oil and gas following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Reuters reports. Now, in our next story, Bieber delivers despite recessionary year. Now, despite another recessionary year, the Business and Intellectual Property Authority delivered a strong financial performance, declaring a surplus of $17 million, doing particularly well in its efforts to collect outstanding annual duties. Now, this was revealed in the authority's 2019-2022 annual report tabled in Parliament on Wednesday. Now, Bieber CEO Vivian Kashiwangwa said the financial position can be further strengthened in the next financial year. Now, despite recording a cost increase of 11%, Bieber also saw a growth in net assets worth $25 million, of which the highest growth was on investments. Going forward, the authority will focus on further strengthening its financial position with prudent measures to contain costs and other expenditures. Now, Kashiwangwa stated that over the 12-month period, the authority cumulatively approved 13,736 new business entities. Of the new applicants received, 55% were registered within 3 days, compared to 52% in the 2018-2019 financial year. This reflects a 3% improvement in turnaround times for the registration of business within the targeted 3 days. Now, in our next story, Northern big guns drop NCCI. Prominent Northern business people have left the Namibian Chamber of Commerce and Industry to form their own organization. Just last week, the NCCI held a meeting at the Ongwediva Trade Fair Center, which had a poor turnout, a clear indication that its members have lost hope in the organization and no longer want to be affiliated with it. Now, speaking at the launch of Naloba on Friday in Ongwediva, businessman Erastus Shapumba said it is not politically affiliated organization, and its main objective, he said, is to meet government halfway in creating employment for the youth and Namibians in general. Now, the new kid on the block was established last year and was fully registered by 15 December 2021. Naloba Vice President Peter Amadila said government has seen the collapse of small and medium-sized businesses, and the president understands that the situation needs to be remedied. He said the organization was established in voice of the true heart of business interest and has so far registered over 2,000 members who have resigned from the NCCI. Now let's take a look at our economic indicators. Good news for the British pound, euro, and the Chinese yuan as their values have appreciated. The US dollar has gone down in value, now trading at 15 Namibian dollars and 37 cents. Stock prices of First Rand Namibia Ltd has decreased by 0.03%, while Capricorn Investment Group Ltd have increased by 14.60%. Stock price of Orex Properties have increased by 16.80%, and SBN Holdings has decreased by 0.20%. Not so good news in terms of commodities. Brent crude oil has gone down at 0.84%, and copper has decreased by 0.64% in value. We'll be back shortly with news from across the continent. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. Now let's take a look at our continental news stories. Now, Nigeria's jihadists killed 27 people in 4 attacks. Jihadis in northeast Nigeria have since Friday killed 27 people in 4 separate attacks, security sources and residents told AFP on Sunday. Now, the Islamic State West Africa province, who split from rival Boko Haram jihadis in 2016, has escalated attacks in recent weeks, despite ongoing military operations. Now, late on Saturday, ISWAP killed 24 civilians in 3 villages in Borno State, an anti-jihadist militia leader and a resident told AFP. Now, they said the civilians were targeted for helping troops fighting the militants. Fighters drove into Sabongarian Kimba, Mandara Girau, and Gama villages in Biu district, targeting residents, the sources said. Now, the terrorists killed 24 people in the 3 villages late last night, an anti-jihadist militia leader, Mustafa Kiramba, said. He said soldiers had enlisted the help of villagers to clear shrubs along the highway, linking the villages which the militants use as cover for ambushes. Now, in our next story, 5 MSF aid workers kidnapped in northeastern Cameroon. Now, 5 staff members of the medical charity Medicine Sans Frontiers were kidnapped overnight in Cameroon's far north, a region where militant group Boko Haram operates. The aid group said on Friday the workers were organizing humanitarian projects in the area when armed men broke into MSF's residence in the town of Fotokol, an MSF representative told Reuters. Now, the teams are mobilized to support our 5 colleagues, they said. Neither the identity of the attackers nor their motives were immediately known, MSF said. Now, the incident occurred in an area where a rise in intercommunal clashes has been displaced nearly 100,000 people and in December killed dozens. Attacks by Boko Haram militants are also common. Now, in our next story, urgent calls for a global plastic treaty. Now, the equivalent of 30 trucks of throwaway plastic packaging bags and containers are tipped onto the Dondora dump daily, according to official data, a trend set to worsen with global plastic pollution forecast to double over the next decade. Now, this global waste crisis, which is destroying habitats, killing wildlife, and contaminating the food chain, has sparked calls for radical action in a treaty hailed as the most important environmental pact since the Paris Agreement. 3 in 4 people said they wanted single-use plastic banned as soon as possible in a study released this month ahead of the treaty talks. But how the treaty will tackle single-use plastic production and use is said to be one of the thorniest issues in the talks, according to officials involved, as well as what elements of it will be legally binding and how it will be financed. Up next, we'll be taking a look at international news. Stay with us. Welcome back to NMH at 1. Now let's take a look at our international news stories. Now Russian forces seized 2 small cities in Ukraine. Russian invasion forces seized 2 small cities in southeastern Ukraine and the area around a nuclear power plant. Now, the Interface news agency reported on Monday, but ran into stiff resistance elsewhere as Moscow's diplomatic and economic isolation deepened. Having launched the biggest assault on European states since World War II, President Vladimir Putin put Russia's nuclear deterrent on high alert on Sunday in the face of a barrage of Western-led reprisals for his war on Ukraine. Now, Russia's defense ministry, however, said it was forces that had taken over the towns of Berdyansk and Enerhodar in Ukraine's southeastern Zaporizhzhia region, as well as the area around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Interfax reported. And the plant's operations continued normally, it said. Ukraine denied that the nuclear plant had fallen into Russian hands, according to the news agency. As Western governments mustered more support for sanctions against Moscow, diplomatic maneuvering continued, with the Vatican joining efforts to end the conflict by offering to facilitate dialogue between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine said negotiations with Moscow without preconditions would be held at the Belarusian-Ukrainian border. Now, in our next story, Hong Kong mortuaries fill up as COVID-19 deaths climb. Now, facilities for storing dead bodies at hospitals and republic mortuaries in Hong Kong are at maximum capacity due to a record number of COVID-19 fatalities, the hospital authorities said on Monday. Now, as officials battle to control a surge in cases, the city's education secretary said international schools could maintain their origin term dates after widespread confusion over summer school holidays. Now, school campuses are expected to be used by the government in March as authorities roll out compulsory testing for the COVID-19. And with that, we've come to the end of our international news stories. Do stay with us.
Have you received a loan from NSFAF? NSFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NSFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NSFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NSFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag #paybackthemoney.
Thank you for staying with us during your lunch hour break. Next up, let's take a look at our local news, at our local sports news stories. Now, the local boxing promoter and trainer Nestor Tobias said that all is set for next month's Together as One Part 6 Boxing Bonanza, which will be held at Helau Nafidi in the Ohangwena region on 19 March. Now, the event will be headlined by the Philippus Energy Ngahitumbwa. In our next story, Chris Kinder and his guide, Rivaldo Hohasep, have set their eyes on representing Namibia for the first time at this year's Commonwealth Games in England. Now, the two will be traveling to the United Arab Emirates to compete in the 2022 International Paralympic Committee Dubai Grand Prix from 21 to 24 March. Now, in our next story, Zanetta Coleman inspired Fenerbahce to a 2-1 Istanbul derby victory over LOC leaders Besiktas in the Turkcell Women's Football Super League clash. Now, the Namibian broke deadlock with a stunning long-range drive. She now has 6 goals and 4 appearances since making her debut. On to international sports news. Chelsea's chances of winning the League's Cup finals were slashed yesterday in a dramatic penalty shootout against Liverpool. Now, these and other stories when we come back. But before that, let's take a look at some weekend sporting action from the 2022 Holland Gravel and Dirt series. Now let's have a look at our international sports stories. Now, Jurgen Klopp challenged Liverpool to chase a historic quadruple after the Reds won the league's final in a dramatic penalty shootout against Chelsea on Sunday. Now, Klopp's aide clinched the first of the 4 major trophies they are competing for this term when Chelsea's goalkeeper, Kepa Arrizabalaga, smashed his penalty high over the crossbar. Now, Olympic silver medalist Chris Nielsen soared to pole vault victory at the U.S. Indoor Championship on Saturday to book his place at next month's World Championship. Now, Nielsen took the gold medal with a winning leap of 5.91 meters as the 2-day meeting in Spokane, Washington, got underway. Now, next story, Rafael Nadal continued his perfect start to 2022, beating Cameron Norrie at 6-4 and 6-4 lift the Apocalipto ATP title in his first tournament since winning the Australian Open. Now, Nadal needed an hour and 54 minutes to beat Britain's 12th-ranked Norrie for the 4th time in as many career meetings. Now, let's take a look at our weather. Thunder showers are predicted across the central parts of Namibia, while further north, partly cloudy conditions are expected. Moving down south, warm temperatures are predicted, while Ariamsvlei is expected to experience light showers. Do stay with us for highlights right after the break. Welcome back to NMH at 1. If you've just joined us, here are the main takeaways from today's show. Jihadis in northeast Nigeria have since Friday killed 27 people in 4 separate attacks, security sources and residents told AFP on Sunday. Now, Russian invasion forces seized 2 small cities in southeastern Ukraine and the area around a nuclear power plant. Now, the Interfax news agency reported on Monday, but ran into stiff resistance elsewhere as Moscow's diplomatic and economic isolation deepened. Local boxing promoter and trainer Nestor Tobias said that all is set for next month's Together as One Part 6 boxing bonanza, which will be held at Helau Nafiti in the Ohangwana region on 19 March. The event will be headlined by Philippus Energy Ngihitumbwa. Jurgen Klopp challenged Liverpool to chase a historic quadruple after the Reds won the League's Cup final in a dramatic penalty shootout against Chelsea on Sunday. Klopp's side clinched the first of the 4 major trophies they were competing for this term when Chelsea's goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga smashed his penalty over the crossbar. And with that, we've come to the end of our show. Thank you for joining NMH at 1. I'm Glenn Rashipura. Please do join me again tomorrow, same time, same place. But before that, let's have a look at our regional review.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome to another exciting edition.
Good morning, Namibia. Welcome to another episode of Regional Review. My name is Tunole Mungoba, and I'm the regional correspondent for the Far North for Namibia Media Holdings. Today, we have an amazing episode in store for you as we recap and take you through what happened in the northern regions thus far. Please stay tuned and watch for more. Today is the 28th of February, and it is also the Floral Design Day. So today is that one day where you get to wear all of those shirts and those dresses and those tops that have floral designs as we are busy welcoming spring. So make sure that you get what you need to get in the closet and celebrate the day with us. NMH prepared a short video clip on what Floral Design Day is all about. For our first story, we are going to go through Oshakati, where the Oshana Regional Library held an information sharing event, which was basically aimed at assisting unemployed graduates to navigate the job market. So Lida Madila, the chief librarian at the Oshana Regional Library, worked together with her Department of Business and Information section, where they had different speakers from different institutions such as B2Gold and the Ministry of Labor, and they had a little chat and a panel discussion, and they were sharing tips on how these unemployed graduates will be able to apply for jobs in future, preparing for job interviews and all of that. Here's the video for more.
The event went so well yesterday. It was an amazing turnout. The community came, the invitees showed up, and I am honestly thankful. I cannot be grateful enough to just say thank you personally as well to the specific invitees that took part, specifically Mr. Daniel Shiweda from B2Gold. He showed a remarkable presentation, and he left so many people wanting for more. So I would really like to personally say thank you to him as well, and the Ministry of Labor invitees that came, Ms. Ninkoti, Ms. Jaba, and Ms. Chipandambira. They were amazing. They showed up well, and I am totally thankful, as well as the University of Namibia, the Oshakati campus. Ms. Agrippine Kanandunge, she did amazing with her colleague, Ms. Namanje. I'm honestly thankful. The media as well, Ms. Tunohole and the Eagle FM crew that came through. I'm thankful, and I'm hoping that I will host more events for the Oshana Regional Library, and that this is not the first nor the last event. I would love to see growth. I would love to see more community members engage themselves, and I'm hoping that more institutions and more companies come through for me, and we really make this as a yearly event that community members can learn through. They need to grow, and yesterday really showed that there is a need for that. So for that alone, I say thank you.
Because of our parents and whatnot and so on, and then you finish because you're a top performer, but you don't really know the career that you'll be going. So just research more, because we get situations where interns or students come to the mine, and when they get there, they're like, no, I can't be working with the dust. It's too sunny. But you studied mining engineering, you are an engineer. But when you get there, you are like, for internship, you are like, no, it's too dusty, it's too sunny, I cannot be in the peak, there's no network in the peak. You see, so, yeah, please just try and research, ask around, what do people do in my career, what do they do, and so on. Okay, it's like this. Job, okay. Avoid drugs. I included that one. So basically, when it comes to, I'm not sure about other companies, but I know about the mining industry. So now, I'm not really sure if we are all familiar with how the mining industry works. Mining industry has all types of areas, most of them, or not most of them, but a lot. So you can get HR people, you can get some.
For our second video, we are going to look at the protest that took place at the UNAM Oshakati campus, where students who are studying public health are being informed that they should change their course as it's no longer accredited by the Health Professional Council. These students are up in arms with regards to the latest change and are currently pleading to the UNAM management to see what they can do and assist them in this regard. Here's the video for more.
Down population studies, down! We want public health! We want public health! We want public health! Down population studies, down! Down population studies, down! Down population studies, down! We want public health! We want public health! We want public health! We demand answers now!
This morning, by the way, I engaged your SRC. My promise to them was we are going to deliberate on this issue with the department and some concerned staff members. The issue that you raised, my promise was also that I will come back to the SRC after the deliberations and then feed you back. But now we've decided, instead of just talking to the SRC alone, we are just going to talk to the whole group. Therefore, that's why we are here now. In the morning we were waiting for the director to arrive. He has arrived now. He was in Windhoek.
all this time. We finished our deliberations. I will not talk much. I will just hand over to him at this very short moment, just to say a few words to you. And then we can take it from there. Dr. Sharma, I would like to give you the floor and address your students.
Yes, good morning, colleagues.
Good morning, sir.
For our third story of today, we are going all the way to Ondangwa, where they recently opened and launched the first MNZ office in the north. Yes, you heard that right. The first MNZ motor car center, so that residents who are in the north are no longer going to have to drive all the way to Windhoek to get their car being serviced and to buy professional vehicles from the MNZ franchise. They now have an opportunity to get these vehicles straight from Ondangwa. I attended that event and I prepared a short video clip, so here's more info on that.
Opportunity to be part of the group. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be part of this amazing group. I will do my best to uphold and keep the standards set by MNZ as an employee when fulfilling my duties to the best of my ability. Thank you. So I'll be your MC for the evening, and I sincerely hope you will enjoy this evening with us. So next up, I would like to call
We also appreciate the commitment they have to the northern part, that yes, too, if the central of Namibia can do business, equally too, the northern part, we can do business. But what we are saying, as the northerners, we will outshine anyone.
Once we are taking it off, in fact, it's a great honor for me as a resident of this area
for our last story, we are going to go back to Ongwediva, where the launch of the NALOMBA, which is the Namibian Labour Business Association, was launched on Friday, this past Friday, at Chico Mall in Ongwediva. And Erastus Shapumba, who is the owner of Chico Mall and also a northern entrepreneur, facilitated this launch. What took place with the NALOMBA launch is that the northern businessmen were not understanding with the Namibian Chamber institution, and they decided to come up with their own body and their own committee. And here's the catch, not the catch, but here's the good part: entrance is free. I mean, membership is free for the first year.
Vice President, Mano, Yangamino, Siye, Yapo, hepa, ina eta hepa, mamenta hepa. Ino marito gao, egurum egarum ganu biu, mara haiga kufa epibolingi pangkaro kengerean. Ida ta kengerewa pangkaro tapu depembanga, inukan itu nengi shashi kapena egamino. Bakaran eta tukuti ya kondo ati mano na mano.
Yellow. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next item in the program, as we are about to finish our program now, is vote of thanks by our Queen, Mrs. Vivian Bashu. The floor is yours.
Showers and mild temperatures are expected at Umuthia this whole week. Patchy clouds are forecast for Shakati today, with rain that can be expected from tomorrow until Thursday, whereafter cloudy conditions prevail. Patchy clouds are forecast for Ndangwa today, with showers on Tuesday and Wednesday. By Thursday, there will be cloud cover before clearing somewhat on Friday and Saturday. At Inhana, temps are at around the 30-degree mark, with showers forecast from today to Wednesday. By Thursday, the skies will clear somewhat. And finally, Otapi is forecast mostly cloudy conditions today, with showers expected from Tuesday to Thursday, whereafter it will clear and heat up.
Thank you so much, viewers, for watching the show with us today. I hope that today was fun, informative, and well put together. See you guys next week for another video. From myself, Tumole Mongoba, and the rest of the Namibia Media Holdings team, it is goodbye.